Prahlad Kakar, born 1948, chucked out of play school at 5, lost his virginity in class 11, got thrown out of his college hostel at 17. This is all true, and nothing is made up. Aspiring army general, horse breeder, and blue filmmaker. Aspiring sperm donor. Now, we don't have a camera on Mithali. I understand times are tough in the pandemic. There's no work and all that. Was this really, or is this just funny?
No, I wanted to spread the seed. Yeah. I wouldn't have lasted because the women were really bad looking. Kasvekar answer, okay, it's the end of the world. There are only 3 people have survived. That's you, Cillian, and Kakar. So you have to repopulate the world.
Oh no!
Okay.
Oh my God, no!
So who will you start with? So, she looks at Cillian, she looks at me, her face sort of crumpled, and she said, I'd rather die.
The views expressed by the author are his own. Yes, Cyrus says. Why am I saying that? Who cares? We've got the man himself. What a great human being. And I'm going to say nice things right at the top, and then I can screw him after that, because I think I have the familiarity and proximity to do that. But this is one of the great legends for those who are 8, 9 years old and may not know the Prahlad Kakar story. One of the humongous, greatest advertising filmmakers of all time, and a founding father of what we are today, which is one of the biggest advertising filmmaking countries in the world, even more than China, Prahlad, I'm told. Yes. Yeah, can you believe it? You used to make films for China, didn't you?
No, not
propaganda
China.
films.
Vietnam.
That's racist. What the hell, man? Mithali, how can you answer like that?
Vietnam hates China.
I know, that's what I'm saying. You don't say that. Yeah. Okay,
the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Is my friend, yeah. Really. What about my girlfriend? The enemy of my enemy, can she be my girlfriend?
Totally.
Oh, wow.
Totally.
It's a horny story. Okay, let me just quickly start. He's released a book. It's called Adman Madman, which unfortunately is completely correct and mad in many good ways as well. People use this mad word unnecessarily like it's some sort of abuse, but it's a as we say, tarif. With Rupangi Sharma, we'll understand why her name is put in there, but what the hell has she done? But apparently she's done a lot. Because this lazy old man didn't want to write.
No, I wrote. She had to decipher my handwriting, which I couldn't do myself.
So what you write, and then what does she have to do? I don't understand. You've written it.
I send it to her.
To rewrite?
No.
To correct it?
To correct my spelling, which is haywire because I'm dyslexic.
Isn't it called autocorrect? I mean, I'm looking at his wife.
In handwriting, there's no autocorrect.
Oh, you're like me, old-fashioned.
I had to write it by hand because when I dictated into a dictaphone, it didn't sound like me at all. It was flabby, it was repetitive, it was stupid. So
So you rewrote your audio?
I wrote the entire book by longhand in a foolscap book.
Yeah.
Many books.
Can I tell you my writing hack? And Mithali, I say this with due respect. I find that whenever I write, if I'm naked, I write really well.
Totally.
You too?
So that's why I write it.
So Rupangi approved?
Yeah, look at the photograph at the back.
Yes, folks, please take a look at this photograph. This is half the book. The man, the myth, the legend, it's all true. And then, of course, the front is... I would say... Respectable, yeah. Very little sign of the 70s or 80s.
Read what Muhammad Khan's written about me.
Is it very long?
At the back.
Okay. This is Muhammad Khan, by the way, for those who don't know, another great doyen of advertising. Ambience, no? What was it? Rediffusion?
Enterprise.
Between the two of us, memory loss. Prahlad Kakar, born 1948, chucked out of play school at 5, lost his virginity in class 11, got thrown out of his college hostel at 17. This is all true, and nothing is made up. Aspiring army general, horse breeder, and blue filmmaker. Oh my God. Accidental ad filmmaker, slave to Shyam Benegal. All true, every single thing here. Resigned before being fired, started his own production house, then a dhaba, then a restaurant, and then a beach resort. Spelled BITCH. And a scuba diving school, a cigar brand, an NGO?
Yeah.
What, Prahlad Kakar and Sons?
No. Reef Watch, it's called For Saving the Oceans, yeah.
Oh, right, of course. But this is an order of appearance, isn't it?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay, wine taster, tea connoisseur, hat collector, this all we know. Self-proclaimed philosopher, fair enough. Aspiring sperm donor. Now, we don't have a camera on Mithali. I understand times are tough in the pandemic. There's no work and all that. Was this really, or is this just funny?
No, I wanted to spread the seed. Yeah.
More Prahlad Kakar or the word that rhymes with it? Prahlad.
I wanted to keep a track on all my illegitimate children because it's nice to know,
Some of them are doing so well in Bollywood, no?
Yeah, exactly.
Then, okay, NGO. Oh my dear, aspiring sperm donor. Prahlad Kakar loves cooking. This is, okay, so I worked extensively with him. Loves cooking and loves food. So nice. I'll just segue for a second here. To work with people who discuss the lunch immediately when you enter the set. You just start feeling comfortable. I wish for those, these are the lessons you have to tell them also. Work is good and important, and he's very, very intense when he works. But you must look at the priorities. Lunch, always. And one of the best lunch spreads, your ad shoots. I can't think of one which was, nobody wants to go home once your lunch spread comes out. Then what else is there? P.S. He has a beautiful wife, Mithali, and 3 sons he adores. So he says. As quoted by Mahmood Khan.
You could have written this.
Yeah.
Easily.
No, but it's all true. So it's in a sense, I know it's tongue in cheek, but it's all true. And then there's a picture of him catching a fish and covering his extracurriculars with his very famous hat, which sadly he's not wearing today. Where is the hat gone? Even at the launch of the book, you
instead of saying bring the book, you should have said bring the hat.
But the hat was you.
No, I know
today, so
that,
many people copy you. They're taking that hat should be your copyright. You have to pay you money every time they wear the hat. Yeah, really. I missed that hat. The cigar's gone.
No. Cigar. She didn't want me to smoke in the studio.
No, that would be illegal and they would shoot you. But other than that, he's still smoking, right?
Oh, of course.
Okay, Mithali's got there are two shows going on because her story is very different from yours.
Totally.
She's not allowed to smoke. Okay, let's start at the beginning. There's so much to talk about. Let's get into this book. First and foremost, is it true that a Parsi is to blame for you being in Bombay?
A Parsi?
A Parsi lady who gave you refuge.
Yeah, of course. But no.
Have you not read your book?
No. She wasn't to blame. She just took me in because I was sleeping on people's sofas
But is this true? Because this is like the Amitabh Bachchan story that everybody has that they struggled.
She had a PG who was half Parsi, half Anglo, and his name was Larry Grant.
Oh, like Cary Grant.
Larry, yeah. And his mother was my dorm matron in tennis school.
Okay.
So she turned around and put me onto him, and he said, okay, you can have my digs for the next 6 months because I'm taking up extended holiday. And the landlady, which he introduced me to, was Mrs. What is her name?
But doesn't really matter.
No, she was amazing.
No, what I mean is, don't worry about the name. We'll fit the name in later. Sparsh, find out the name and fit it in.
She was a pillar of the Parsi community in Bombay because,
wow.
You know what she did with all her friends? Every month she used to organize a high tea, for all the single Parsi boys and all the single Parsi women.
Oh, wow.
To get them together.
She was a racist. A framing friggin' racist.
No. She wasn't. She wanted to
bring them together, give them a chance.
No. Let the tribe increase. Yeah.
So before the Geo-Parsi movement, she started her own version of it.
Exactly, because she realized that they were diminishing lot.
Yeah.
And it was difficult to find because Parsi boys were finding girls outside of the community and which wasn't kosher because all the girls who were left behind had to work for RTI.
The views expressed by the author are his own. and his own alone. Yeah. But there's a truth in that, in a sense, because what happens is, I think affluent communities, women are educated, etc., and then they have choice because of that. They get empowered.
Exactly.
So why did Mithali come back here? Considering she's well educated and successful. That romance we should talk about at some point. We don't have that much time. So
Mithali is part of the book.
Of course. You should live with her. You better mention her. Release the book and stay out. He'll be spending the rest of his life at Tata. He can't come back home. Okay, I want to just segue there because you actually had no idea what you were doing in life. Remember, you've told us this story very often. And because a lot of people, when that the age group of maybe 18 to 25, they really think life is hard and whatever, but they have no idea how many people are like that. And then you become really successful.
I actually got a job in a bank.
Yeah. What would you do in a bank, Prahlad? Except rob it?
No, everybody celebrated because they said, dear, Pappu pass ho gaya.
Literally?
Literally, because I was always a second class student.
But you said you had that learning disability thingy, right? What's it called?
I have dyslexia.
I
But I didn't know it until Mithali found out.
Yeah.
Because our kids have got, some of our kids have got.
So your kids and you are not stupid. It's just dyslexia. Just to be clear, a lot of people, thank God for dyslexia.
No. Now the kids are now being voted in because they're dyslexic means they're geniuses.
Yeah.
At my time, they thought I was a duffer and needed a swift kick up my ass.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
So I had to wear a couple of underwears and, things like that.
But you weren't good in studies, in academic studies. Which is
no, I liked only certain subjects which I loved and I was damn good at. I was damn good at English literature because my teacher was very good looking.
Hot chick?
Very.
Oh, man.
Okay. And so I was amazing in English literature. My Hindi was really bad because he was a guy and he was... He was relatively ugly.
Education minister, you listening? You want languages to improve? The teacher's got to look good. It's never about the language.
I'm not joking. It's absolutely true.
At least you'll attend.
When I was in college, we had a lady who was a writer herself. She was an author and very well known. Gauri Deshpande. She was stunning looking. She was about 5'7", and in Ferguson College in Tanjaland and Pune in Bhatland in the middle, she would wear slacks and a tight sweater. And she had, very good assets.
What?
Yes.
Not on this show?
Yeah. And the first day, the English Lit class, there were just 16 of us. That was the original. But
it's a co-ed?
That was the real class. Yeah, there were just 16. Okay, for English literature, because they didn't...
Nobody wanted to do the subject, where does it go, etc.
Exactly, and nobody thought they could score in it. In the next class, because of word of mouth, we were 150 students and I couldn't recognize any of them. And most of them were not from our college.
And not speaking English. Non-English speaking turned up. Badhiya, ma'am. Says good. Okay, so going back to that period of life where you're not sure what were you doing with the bank job and what happens after that?
No, I didn't get the bank job. I almost got it.
What is that?
I went through all the interviews except the final interview, and they said, we'll wait for your results because I told them my results haven't come out yet.
Right.
They said, okay, if you get a decent second, we'll take you. But you'll have to be...
So subject to you passing with a decent second.
Decent second.
Yeah.
So I got an okay second. Not... I don't know what the decent means, but I got some 56%.
But you could have fought with that, right? They may have taken you.
Of course, because they really liked me. The guy who interviewed me was an Gora, an American.
You can't say these words anymore. You can't say Gora.
Why can't you say Gora?
Where does this man come from?
Firangi.
Just say American.
Firangi.
Of the Caucasian disposition.
Firangi.
You can't say Firangi.
Why can't you say Firangi?
These are all racist slurs now.
No, these are not racist.
I'm very woke. I'm very woke. I was going to say they to welcome you.
So anyway, he was very casual and everybody had suits, decent suits. And I just walked in jeans and a t-shirt.
Right.
And he sort of was wearing jeans and a t-shirt. And the 15-minute interview went to become a 1.5 hour interview. And we discussed everything except bank.
Right.
We discussed hobbies, we discussed what we liked, what we didn't like, and my growing up in Dehradun and the forest, the hunting, the fishing, the whole lot. Yeah.
But as you call him, Firangi was familiar with India and these places.
Yeah. He was very keen on going to all those places and doing all the things that I had done because he was a very outdoors man. So my whole upbringing was outdoors.
Right.
And then I sort of something clicked in me. I said, let me go and check out what they do, these trainees. Because I had no clue about what a banker does, except bank other people's money.
Right.
Yeah. So I went down to the office. It was in a fort. And all the trainees were sitting in the basement. So I went down to the basement. There was this huge basement, no windows, kadak air conditioning, and fluorescent neon lighting all through, very bright. And everybody sitting in neat little rows, very Orwellian. I had just read...
What were they doing? They were punished?
They were sitting in neat little rows, balancing ledgers. They were balancing...
Prahlad Kakar, that would have been you.
Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine?
You have never met him, Mithali? Nobody, he wouldn't have seen the sunlight. He's in the basement.
No, that was
my first... Like a werewolf.
Yeah, no sunlight, no thing, I'll die. So I ran for my life.
Wow. And thinking of the US as outdoors guy, who you are, you built this empire in Andamans and this and that and all that. You've been a basement creature for 40 years. Or maybe you'd have gone up.
Whatever, office, but anyway, I wouldn't have lasted because the women were really bad looking.
It's bank, not wank. Just read what it says. I know that in some cultures, B&V is the same in the east of India, right?
We'd gone beyond the wanking state.
I'm sure.
Now
I like to wank with you guys.
Now we're looking for the real McCoy at that time. The hormones were jumping.
Were you a virgin?
I was 20. No. Haven't you read my...
Of course not. You didn't give me the book. I'm waiting for the damn book. When am I getting the book? Now she says you can take this book home, but he has to sign still. Which is like an afterthought. Right, folks? Come on. Because suddenly they realize, okay, usko de do.
I saw you at the book launch and then you did a Patli Gali.
There were 8 women, young girls. With Prahlad, it has to be girls, you know. So girls are standing there and Kunal went pompously up on stage to say hi to you. He was ahead of me and he goes up, Javed Jaffrey and me behind, in that order. And the one girl who obviously has no idea who Kunal is or any of us are, because rightly so, says, you can't go there, and stopped him. And then he got most offended that they stopped me and all that.
Exactly.
Took me out. Just made me walk out. And then you disappeared actually. We tried to go backstage from that side. We couldn't find you.
I went down up
to the basement.
No, I went up on for the signing work.
I know, they took you somewhere and then there was no point. I couldn't even find Mithali, couldn't find it. Why are we discussing this? This is a podcast, not a personal conversation about what happened that day. It's a horrible show, really. But so coming back, so you as the book says, you would have lost your virginity.
So you became what is popularly known in the Hindi movie industry, Sumri Mein Comedy.
Hey, it is what it is. Back to the virginity. No, it's just a subject that because he's so candid and open, and it's good that the book is like that. Because if you ever work with him or meet him or people who grew up around him, he's so iconic in our world, will tell you that if you're not used to Prahlad Kakar, some people, conservative-minded people, can really. I'm sure you've got millions of stories. I don't want to take Itwa's name, but a former Miss India. Pepsi ad that I shot a lot of Pepsi ads with him. And I came back and my wife was so angry with me for laughing when I told the whole story. But it was just because the beautiful woman comes out and she's wearing something and he's standing with his hands on his hip with a PA in his hand and he's shouting at one of his assistants, but she looks like a water buffalo. She's just one Miss India. But the outfit was not great, no doubt, but she still looked beautiful. And he says it. She started crying. I don't even remember. There's 2 hours we had to waste because she wouldn't come out of the trailer.
I remember.
And then they're telling you about Prahlad, you were really rude to her. And why? What's wrong? She looks like a water buffalo. Then you went to apologize. This is an apology, Mithali. It's like, I won't take the name again. Why are you getting upset? So what? We'll transform you. He said everything he shouldn't have said. He cried even more. I thought he'd go and say something like, and he took me with him. 4-5 of us are standing around her and we're all trying to, be nice. She's a really nice girl. But he was genuinely trying to make her feel better and he has no idea that she said everything wrong. But she did perform at the end of the day.
She did perform.
She did. And we have a story to tell.
Yeah. And she won the title and she came back and thanked me because I told her what to do.
Yeah. But what did you tell her?
I tell her
how to win a Miss India?
How to answer the questions because I was
like
there.
How?
I was there when Ash and...
you were one of the guys who used to ask questions. They would call you all the time.
Exactly.
Why did he ask those stupid questions like, what do you want to do to save the world and all that? Stop that now.
But they were given.
Imagine if you tell him today, can you solve the Israel-Arab conflict? Go ahead. 2 minutes. What the hell?
Atul Kasbekar asked a very interesting question off record.
Do you save your conveyance?
No.
That's what Atul
There were
was
3 of us who were at the preliminary thing for Miss India.
Yeah.
There was Atul, me, and
Ashok Salian.
And Salian. And so you can imagine Salian and me, and the only decent-looking fellow was Kasbekar.
I mean, clean-shaven, good-looking Kasbekar and his 2 beards. For those who I wish you can show a picture of Ashok Salian, whose beard is really a beard.
And raucous laughter.
My God.
Okay, so we were there, very formal, and asked the questions. And then they said, okay, now you can go home, your job is done. We said, no, we don't want to go home. We want to hang around, in Bangalore. And look and see. And
meet the Miss Indias and their mothers and all that. Yeah, I know, Prahlad. I was there.
So anyway, we said we must go for the bathing suit round.
Right.
Because otherwise they all tarted up head to toe. So we were hanging out near the bathing suit round with our big rosettes, which said we were judges.
It gives you that sophistication that you're not a lech.
And they hadn't taken it away.
Correct. Yeah.
So we saw this girl looking really woebegone, and sitting outside, sort of VP and thing. So she said, what happened to you? She said, no, I got eliminated in the first round and now I can't go anymore and I have to go home. So I'm really sad. So we said, don't worry, we're judges and all. We'll see that you get a second chance.
The close-up of camera in this particular shot would be three lecherous men looking at me.
We get a second
Don't
chance.
worry, beta.
So we'll make sure that you get a second chance. So she says,
How? You can't change the rules?
We can try it, huh?
True.
Three of us versus...
What will be your reason? I'm dying to know.
Three of us versus the management.
Right.
I mean, no competition.
This is Times of India.
Yes.
Better than Coleman, yeah.
So, Kasvekar answer, okay, it's the end of the world. There are only three people have survived. That's you, Cillian and Kakar. So you have to repopulate the world.
Oh no!
Okay.
Oh my God, no!
So who will you start with? So, she looks at Cillian, she looks at me, her face sort of crumpled, and she said, I'd rather die. We laughed, we rolled on the ground, and until you get 10 on 10.
Wow, tough question. Mithali, what would you do? What's your answer? Yeah. Ouch. Oh, that's great fun.
Just imagine.
Yeah.
And we didn't get offended.
Of course not.
We sort of found it so funny because it's so true.
Offense would be if she chose one over the other.
Yes.
Because then it would be like, "Mujhme kya kamzori hai," kind of feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can understand.
I'd rather die.
Did she become famous subsequently?
Of course.
Ooh.
She became a journalist.
Oh. It's a bit of a drop down from Miss India Glory, yeah, to writing about Miss India Glory. Yeah. What's the name?
No.
It's in the book? It's in the book?
No, it's not in the book.
We can trace a lot of things in the book, I'm sure.
Yeah.
With the inside track and all
But
that.
everything can't be in the book, because...
Guys, we'll reinterpret the book with the second book about the book.
Remember this. I was given a brief of writing 80,000 words.
Yeah.
I looked at 80,000 words and impossible. I've not written more than one foolscap sheet for my answer paper in my exams. Yeah. And that's the maximum I've done.
The exam is asking you about the theory of relativity. This is about Prahlad Kakar's sexual exploits.
For whatever
There's lots to talk about. Yeah.
So we started writing and I started writing. Every time I finished a chapter, I thought I'd finished the book. Then there was Hunter Wali, Mithali, with the
references are even older than mine, so I'm so happy now, really. Because I just about get it, so there's a good chance nobody else.
So, with my ass,
please tell them who Hunter Wali was.
There was Fearless Nadia.
Yeah. It's about 1920s?
Yeah, 50s. No, 30s.
1930s.
Mithali
looks so pretty even now. Yeah. It's a more contemporary sort of, right? Yeah.
And she turned around and said, there's COVID, don't give excuses, you have no work to do. Write.
I heard she said that time is short.
Also,
get on with it because if you don't write now,
correct.
That's what I heard.
If you don't finish it now, I'll have to finish it and then I'll write my end of it.
Did you really say that? That's so mean.
So, that was the real threat. So I said, oh shit, I better write it my way. Rather than Mithali's way, because that's a completely different book altogether.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Bengali, no? Long-winded book.
With Robindo Sangeet.
Exactly. Low lighting.
Like somebody died all the time.
Some beggar in the background walking to show poverty. I don't trust these people.
So anyway, I started writing. Once I got it bit into the flow, 80,000 words was just my growing up.
Yeah, I can imagine. And wouldn't that be more clear also sometimes?
And we never did a word count. So we kept writing and it became 120,000 words.
Wow.
It became 150,000 words. The publishers started panicking. So you end the book now, like feature films. There's fight sequences, there's love, there's romance, there's everything. And then they say, hey, it's gone into 3 hours. Better end the film. So suddenly everything comes together. मेले में मेरा भाई मिल गया, the whole family come together.
छाप भी देखना पड़ेगा ना. How do you know it's the brother?
Yeah, he's got a chill on his ass or something.
Yeah. Couldn't resist. Yeah. Imagine that shot. बेटा 1 मिनट पैंट उतारो.
तेरा birthmark और मेरा birthmark एक ही है.
Yeah, I'm sure you've done an ad like that. Maybe not on the bottom, but somewhere.
So we finally finished. I had to leave lots of stuff out because I've got so much more to write. No, you have to end it now because we won't publish the book otherwise. So we ended it at 180,000 words when it was supposed to be 80,000 words. And there's another 150,000 words more to come.
330,000 words?
Yes. So I told him,
That's
I said,
like
why can't I write the full book? You put 2 books into one cover and offer it at a discount and say 2 for the price of 1.
Yeah.
They never bought it.
Who's the publishing house?
HarperCollins.
Don't remember.
I'm dyslexic, yeah, remember?
That's true. And it's 2 words.
And I don't...
Mushkil se Harper
No,
to ho
I'll
gaya.
tell you what my dyslexia is.
Bolo.
My short-term memory is 0.
Really?
My long-term memory...
What was the last question I asked you?
I don't remember.
There you go. We proved it.
But my long-term memory is so clear that I can remember the perfume of the lady who I danced
I thought you
with.
said Lord Mountbatten or something.
No, perfume of the lady I danced with is at a college social.
Which is many years ago.
College social,
You
yeah.
remember her name?
Yeah.
You remember the smell more than the name?
No,
Be
I
honest.
remember the smell more than the name.
Yeah. Mithali doesn't mind always reminiscing about your hero-giri.
No.
Oh.
She turned and says, Kash.
Really? She's just giggling, so sweet. Still giggles at her husband.
I remember, I was totally infatuated with this ballerina in Vietnam.
This post-marriage?
Yes, of course.
Of course. Of course.
And Miss Wien. And she was typical Vietnamese girl who had been trained in ballet in Russia. And absolutely lovely. And then we cast her in a couple of Pepsi films for Vietnam. And then one awards night, I invited the whole lot to Bombay, the entire team. And they turned up. And Miss walks in at home and meets Mithali for the first time. Mithali meets her, totally charmed. The problem with what is that when I like somebody and they come home and meet Mithali, that's the end of my affair because they prefer her to me.
Me too.
So they all become better friends with her, and then I'm sort of left out.
Yeah.
Most of the time. So Musin and her got along at a house of ash. Musin goes into the toilet, comes out and finds her photograph on my bedside table next to Mithali's. And she was horrified.
Bad way, good way?
Bad way.
Oh, God.
She grabbed the photograph and turned around and said, cannot do this.
That's why you liked her, because she couldn't communicate.
Yeah, but it was all sign language.
I like this guy's style is great. Let me get a hot woman who can't talk.
And looked at Mithali and said, I'm so sorry. Cannot.
Sanctity of marriage.
And all that rubbish. So Mithali
Still married, huh? You hypocrite. Still friggin' married, huh?
So Mithali looks at her very tolerantly and said, don't worry, that's Prahlad. It's okay. Your photograph looks good on the bedside table. Go leave it back there. She refused to give it back to me.
She felt she was breaking the marriage?
Yeah, no, she felt that, what was she doing there next to my bedside
But to be
table?
honest, it's a fair question.
No, but...
I mean, really.
I agree. But then I had to go to Chinmay Lee.
Yeah, famous cameraman.
He had taken the photograph.
Yeah.
I said, I want another copy. So he said, why? He said, she jhapped my copy and not returning it to me. So he gave me another copy. So I took it to our farm in Pune.
Oh.
And it's there now. So she's there.
But coming back to the scene, today if I enter your bedroom, do I find Mithali with somebody else photograph?
No, only Mithali and all the men that she worships.
You just put that in just to balance it all up. Huh? The ledger, make sure it looks good. Yeah. All right.
But none of them were as cute as Musin. So she understands. She met Musin. So if you ask her about Musin, she'll turn around and not feel threatened at all. Because Mithali, I'll tell you one thing. I don't know why Mithali married me, but...
we'll have to do another podcast. It's a long question.
So she did. And
she was a model.
She was not just a model.
No, with you, I'm saying she modeled with you.
She modeled with me, and that's how I met her.
That's what.
And we had to convince her to model.
And that's been a modus operandi for a lot of people.
No, but she was a very reluctant model. She didn't want to be a model. She didn't want to model. She wanted to make films. She wanted to be part of production. She wanted to be behind the camera.
Right.
So she said, I'm not interested. So we had to cajole her and ask her. There was one trick, and I realized in my conversation that she had left home in a
hurry?
No, not in a hurry. In a bit of a cloud, because her father didn't want her to come to Bombay. And she left against his will. And therefore in her mind, she felt that she needed to stand on her own feet and do whatever she wanted to do in Bombay with her own money. And therefore she had to do little bits and pieces of work to earn enough money.
She was forced to model because she needed some money on the side when she pursued her thing.
I bribed her. I said, if you model for me on this particular assignment, it's a campaign, you'll have enough money to pay your fees for 2 years without ever having to
What
ask
fees?
anybody. The college fees,
Oh, okay.
hostel fees, college fees, etc.
Okay.
She was very reluctant to ask her father for them because he didn't want her to come. He was very angry. So she jumped at that. She said, I won't have to pay my fees.
So you put on a retainer
No.
to model as and when, and then you would pay the hostel fees and the college fees.
No, the campaign amount that she got for that, one lump sum.
Which was the campaign?
It was for Tiara shampoo.
Wow.
And it was like Valhalla for her. Okay, I'll do it. She didn't realize that the 2-day shoot would get into a 12-day shoot.
And then a 50-year marriage.
And a 50-year marriage.
It was just a bloody shoot. Just a college fees. Call your dad. Get it over with. No, you had to go and do this. Now you're stuck. 3 kids. Andamans. Property disputes.
I don't remember. I don't think Mitali remembered this conversation. But she told me once. She said, because I walked into the house and she said, so you met somebody interesting. I said, how do you know? So I said, because every time you meet an interesting woman, you light up like a Christmas tree. Okay, and you walk into the house, singing a tune and happy and walking on it. So everybody knows, So I said, oh. So I said, so what do you think? So she said, see, if I have to attract other men, which I do all the time, I'm fending them off with both hands, I don't have to work so hard. I just have to stand at a traffic light.
It's a bit disrespectful, I'm thinking.
and I'll cause a traffic jam.
Yeah.
If you want to cause a traffic jam, you'll lie down the road and half of them will run over you.
Yes. Women are so cruel, man. Really. So unnecessary. Yeah, so you're pretty. He's Prahlad Kakar.
So, whatever you do, you have to work damn hard to get it.
Yeah.
And if you eventually get it,
you deserve it for the mehnat.
You deserve it.
Yeah. What a great philosopher Mitali is. And how she makes up excuses for your philandering. We have to take a break, Prahlad. You've gone way over our time. We have a limited time because of our lack of sponsor. So we'll come back in a minute.
You can do it in 3 podcasts. Huh?
You think so?
Like the book.
Never thought of that.
Say more to follow. More grist to the mill.
And more grist to the mill, more to follow.
Guess what?
But the break won't start. Break.
Hey, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On the Habit Coach podcast, Ashton Doctor hosts Brad Yates, EFT expert and author. Brad shares his remarkable journey transitioning from an actor to developing a profound fascination with the intricacies of the human brain, which led him to emotional freedom techniques or EFTs. On a century of stories, Kunal takes us back to the historic Indian victory in the 1983 Cricket World Cup. Find out what the unforgettable players like Srikanth and Amarnath brought to the Indian team in this episode. On All Things Policy, Kingshuk Saha and Manoj Keval Ramani discuss the evolution of the Canada-India crisis and how it has not only impacted the bilateral relations between both countries, but has also cast a shadow on Canada's Indo-Pacific strategy. Folks, if you like our shows, please spread the word. Tell your friends and don't forget to rate and review them wherever you're listening to them. Follow us on social media. We are IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn. You'll also find all our shows on YouTube at youtube.com/IVM Podcasts. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors this week: Omidyar Network India, Abbott, IDFC First Bank and Save Life Foundation. Thank you for making this possible.
Okay, break's done. We can come back. Back here with Prahlad. I don't want to kill his flow. He's in the middle of lots of interesting philosophy, which is also part of the Prahlad legend. There's always philosophy. Shooting with you, hanging out with you, even at a bar or at a party or whatever. There's always stories. You're the ultimate storyteller off camera and on camera.
But I'm a storyteller.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, I think even if you had a job as a traffic cop, you'd be telling stories.
I'd be telling stories.
Yeah, that's your thing.
Especially with the guys I catch and the women I catch. Breaking rules. Gee, now, why did you do this?
Yeah. And then
and we trace it back to the history.
And I see, I'm driving by and I see you doing this to the... and I know immediately.
No. This is Kinch. Deal is deal.
Mitali, control this man. Somebody stop him. Put a seatbelt on this guy. Oh God. Listen, we got to get to the advertising part of it. There's so much more to talk about. I don't want to quick jump in. There's a Shyam Benegal bit which is important also, I think. Because that's like the connect between where you were and how you ended up being what you became.
See, I met Shyam in Delhi, in my Delhi office, which I walked into. And I saw them sitting outside in the garden. Very good looking people having a great time sharing lunch. I said, fuck, sorry.
Sounds great.
This looks great, huh? Better than a bank. So I said, what do you guys do? So they said, we do advertising. I said, what's that? So I said, do you paint the public toilets with your slogans and all? I said, no. We publish in newspapers and we make movies in theaters and things like that. I said, really? So I said, that sounds interesting. So then I walked into the reception and I found this lady in the reception in 1971 in Delhi. Just think of
There's always a
1971.
lady in a reception with you, isn't it?
There's always ladies in reception.
True, there was then at least.
Yeah.
Now it's more woke. You can be anything.
No, it can't.
You can.
If you walk into a man with a reception, you'll go back
You
immediately.
think so?
Absolutely.
IVM man at the reception.
Who-
How did you enter?
Who?
We have a man.
I should have done a U-turn.
You didn't look. You didn't look.
I didn't look.
Jenna PR was with you, so you were distracted. Yeah.
So I walked into this statuesque lady. She's about
Hand gestures to
5
be
foot.
noted.
5 foot 6. 5
How do you
foot
remember all this with your damn memory?
This is my long-term memory.
Huh.
5 foot 6, 5 foot 7.
Women's figures, heights, all that stays forever.
And guess what? She was wearing a mini skirt in Delhi in 1970 to office. And she had the best pair of legs I've ever seen.
What are you saying?
I'm not joking. I said, by God, I was mesmerized.
Why were you looking at the legs from?
Because she stood up to
Okay.
say hello. And I said, oops.
Wow.
Wow.
But it's an awkward look, isn't it?
No, but whatever it is, I mean, men look everywhere except at the lady.
Eyes,
You know,
yeah.
so
You wouldn't remember her eyes, would you?
no, I don't remember eyes at all. Remember like. So I said, wow, if you wear a miniskirt, means it's gutsy as hell. You require to have lots of self-confidence to wear miniskirts in Delhi.
Fair enough.
In the 70s.
Especially women. Men, it would be okay.
Men can do what they want.
Call a lungi
Nobody
anyway,
wants. So I turned around and I said, listen, can I get an interview with the boss? So she said, he's in a very bad mood today. You come back tomorrow. I said, no. I'll take my chances. If you can get me an interview. So I somehow had an intuition that she had an in with the boss. So she walks into the boss's cabin, which is just opposite the reception, knocks, and said, Joe, there's a young man to see you. And I said, Joe, not Mr. Chatterjee. Everybody calls him Mr. Chatterjee with great trepidation. And there's the young lady calling him Joe by his first name. I said, she'll get me the job if I talk to her nicely. So she came back, he said, he's having lunch. He might see you after that if he's feeling like it. So I sat down and chatted with her and told her, I need the job because I've got another job and my family is really after me and I've left the other job and they're damn pissed off. Having bantoed laddus and everything when I got the job.
Shit. Was that true? Was that true?
Yeah.
A celebration
The
happened
major
full
celebration. Arey, Pappu pass ho gaya means what?
Yeah. And there's also few because there's no other job available kind of thing. Yeah.
So I said, I need the job because I need to work in a place which I can be comfortable with. And I'm very comfortable with your miniskirt and legs. So she sort of didn't get umbrage at it. She giggled a bit and said, yes, She said, but I'd only put on my miniskirt in office. When I travel in public transport, I put on trousers.
Oh, it's like an Avenger.
Yeah, correct. Okay.
In India, to survive, you dress up differently.
So she got me in.
You waited?
Yeah. So I waited for him to finish his lunch. He said, yeah, send him in. I got 5 minutes. So I walked in. He was reading a newspaper with a ad at the back, full page ad inside, which he was reading, obviously. And he looked at it and threw it on the side and was very upset. I could see that he was very upset. He was making all kinds of grumpy sounds. So then finally he noticed me sitting there. He said, what do you want? I said, sir, I want a job. He said, really? What have you done? I said, I had majored with military strategy.
With military?
Strategy in college.
What the what job are you...
Exactly. Everybody turning around saying, what job
you're not even in the army. So what are you supposed to do?
So, but what people don't realize in hindsight was that marketing is a war.
Correct.
And you fight it in the same principles as you fight a war. It's strategizing, tactics, the whole works. So I studied the whole history of war, in my college. And it was fascinating.
Sorry, Prahlad.
It was fascinating because it's the history of mankind. And I realized as my...
All life is...
No. The world's history is a history of wars. Peace is a small interlude between two wars.
We're recording at a very poignant time then, it looks like.
I mean, but if you look at the history of the human race,
Hmm.
it's war. It's bloody as hell. They're constantly trying to kill each other. And all of science, whatever progress we made in science, is first the ability to kill as many people as possible.
With advertising.
With advertising is one part of war, because that's brainwashing.
But coming back to you were in the middle of the Pepsi
Look,
Cola.
look at what who started the whole business of brainwashing was Pavlov. Okay, with his dogs.
Classical conditioning.
With his dogs. Who took it up?
Mrs. Pavlov?
No. The Germans took it up during the Second World War.
Oh.
And
How classical conditioning?
Because the condition in
the minds
notion,
of people to follow. Okay.
In the 4 years before the Second World War, they conditioned an entire people to turn around and believe that they had to
Aryan
eliminate the
supremacy,
Jews.
etc.
No, they killed 5 million Jews and nobody said a chew.
Yeah.
How can that be? Without the power of the mind.
Right.
So the mind and heart is what war is all about.
So coming back to the conversation with Job or Jog or whatever his name is.
So Job, you had this newspaper and he said, I said, I want a job. He said, really? What do you know? I said, economics. Because economics was a second subject. So he said, what do you think of the ad? He threw a newspaper at me and that's all the ad. It's a full page ad, color. A guy's back with check shirt. And over his shoulder, you can see a woman's eyes. And she has her hands around his neck. Okay? And in her hands, she's got 2 gold stilettos.
Oh.
Now, just see what that triggers. You know, she's not wearing the stilettos.
Come out from somewhere and hiding.
No. She's wearing the stilettos on her hand and not on her feet. Means she's barefoot.
Oh, right.
And in Hindi, it's nange pair, which means intimacy.
Ah. So in India, if a woman keeps her shoes
Anywhere
on,
in
you're
the
not
world,
having sex.
anywhere in the world, if a woman takes her shoes off, means she's comfortable enough for suggestion.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
There's going to be molestation because of you now.
No.
प्रहलाद ने कहा अपने जूता नहीं उठा रहा तो मैं सोचा कि ये कर सकते हैं यार प्रहलाद ने कहा episode 187
there's a lot of significance in the
No,
holding of the shoes. Okay, so and there was copy on his shirt. It was a red check shirt, and it said,
what a memory you have, I must say.
It said something like, we met at a boarding party. One thing led to another, and we ended up at his place. I loved his shirt. I started with the buttons.
This is back in the 80s, this kind of ad, which is quite bold.
70s.
70s.
Yes.
Free India, huh?
And I'll tell you who wrote it also.
Who?
I'll tell you. And she started with the buttons. Tinker, tailor, soldier, sailor.
Right.
Oops, no more buttons.
Ouch.
Liberty shirts. Anything can happen.
Superb.
Okay? He says, so I looked at it and I realized it was fabulous. Yeah, it was amazing. Even then, it was meant for people like me who were 18, 19 years old, horny as hell, And there was Joe looking extremely grumpy and disapproved of the ad totally. So he said, what do you think? So I had a choice. I could either agree with him and get the job or disagree with him and not get the job, possibly. So I said, I may as well tell him the truth. So I told him, I said, I love the ad. Why? It's immoral. It's unethical. So I said, no, you think so. It's meant for people who are between 18 and 25. You are hitting 55, I think. If the ad appealed to you, the brand would be in deep shit. Thank God you don't like the ad because it's not meant for you. You wouldn't be seen dead in a shirt like this. He says. And he calls, Farida, the lady in the miniskirt. So I said, maybe she's going to kick me out of the office now, He says, take her down, show him the office. So she led me around the office and that was it.
So like pressing the right button.
Well, I don't know why.
You could have gone the other way and chamchad him and he would have been pissed off with you.
Not necessarily.
But you could make the call.
It depends. I mean, it was...
You just like your philosophy.
Throw the dice. It was just that the universe conspired.
So you did realize immediately that you're cut out for this because you're able to understand what the person is trying to convey.
No, I wasn't. I just knew that it was a very happy office. And everybody was
but primarily because of the skirt.
No, everybody was well dressed. I mean, casually dressed. Nobody was wearing a tie. The brilliant people like Miki Patel and all.
Who wrote that ad?
Frank Simons.
Oh,
and he was
Frank Simons.
Yes.
Wow, his daughter lives in my building, I think. Yeah, daughter, granddaughter, sorry.
So I met him in the lift many years later when I was working with
Yeah,
HP because we were on the 6th floor, they were on the 3rd floor, I think. And I looked at him and said, "Sir,
Thanks to you.
Thanks to you, I'm working in advertising because I got the job because of your liberty."
And thanks to you being frank.
Yes.
There's more on that as well. Because you wasn't frank. You went with the honesty thing, which normally is like the wrong thing to do.
So, but what a campaign that was.
What a story.
You had to look it up.
What a story. Is this true?
Right.
I can't believe that you take on the big boss like that and just say, okay,
I didn't
bro.
take on.
Yeah, but in the way you did, you knew he didn't like the ad.
No, I knew he didn't like the ad, but I couldn't be dishonest with him. You know, I'm very bad at telling lies.
I'm the opposite. I would just feel his body language and say, yeah, you're right.
I get caught out in lies so easily.
As Miss India found out on that Pepsi shoot.
Yeah. And
Water buffalo.
And Mithali.
Water buffalo.
And Mithali finds out every time I try and tell a lie.
Has he ever tried to lie?
Tried.
Oh.
Tried. Never succeeded.
Right.
So gave up.
You reach a point in marriage where there's no point lying because they can read everything anyway. No?
No, she can read me like a book.
Exactly.
You know, if you can see me like a Christmas tree, then what the hell?
Yeah. Not the most sexy visual, but my husband, the Christmas tree. All right, listen, we'll have very little time. We got to get into a couple
No, do two pods.
What the hell? It's not my pop show.
Yeah, it is.
Sort of is. But let's skip now to advertising. So you worked with Shyam Benegal first and whatever.
No,
Genesis.
I was in Delhi office and I realized that television was going to be the next big thing from ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
So I desperately wanted to get to Bombay somehow. And nobody would listen to me. So one day, I think Shyam Benegal came to the Delhi office because he was in the Bombay office of ASP. He was very senior. And everybody was saying, Shyam. He was a star. So I weaseled my way in and said, "Sir, I want to come to Bombay and work with you." Yeah, okay. And didn't pay too much attention. You know, like many people must have said that to him. So I turned around and convinced Joe that I needed to go to Bombay to train with Shyam so that I would be the only guy in Delhi who's familiar with television. Because nobody knew the animal. I said, "Here's Shyam Benegal sitting there. He works for our office. He's a master at this."
By then, Joke must have been in love with you.
No, he wasn't. He used to look at me very grumpily.
Every time an ad was published, he'd call, "Get Prahlad here." And you'd know if it's working.
Because he was very possessive about all the girls in the office.
How many girls were there?
There were a whole lot of them. Yeah.
More girls than boys?
Well, they were better paid than the men. Let's say that.
So Genesis took this as a blueprint.
That's almost.
Because I've spoken to all the men who worked in Genesis, which he formed later, and they all said the women were on a pedestal and the men were like...
Correct, because they are.
Yeah. Except for you, of course. There was the great man, the women, and those people with the appendage.
So, I convinced Joke to send me on a short trip, like 4 months.
Like a learning thingy.
Yeah, to work with Shyam. So he said, "Yeah, okay, I'll organize it." He sent me with a ticket and didn't raise my salary. It was 350 rupees. The peon was getting 450.
Wow.
Okay. And he said, "You manage. If you can manage your own, you manage. I'm not going to pay you for your boarding lodging and all. Nothing." He said, "You manage in this money." You wanted to probably test how keen I was.
Crazy, yeah.
So then I found Larry Grant who turned around and introduced me to Mrs. Umrigar.
Mrs. Umrigar! Manigayo naam.
Mrs. Umrigar. And she's Sherry's grandmother.
Sherry Mehromji.
Mehromji.
Yeah.
Sorry, not Umrigar. Mehromji.
Sherry. Jesus.
He
remembers the breasts. He remembers the stilettos. He remembers the height. But the friggin' names. Not one name is right. Now I've got to sit with a lawyer at the end of this episode.
So Mrs. Mehromji was the lady who was the landlady.
Sherry's aunt.
Sherry's grandmom.
Grandmom? Wow.
So Sherry inherited the flat.
Narayana Balkur Road.
No,
then?
That was the later one.
Oh.
But the one in Colaba behind the Taj.
Oh, right.
On Ormiston Road.
So that's where you were?
That's where I was.
Wow.
No lift. Big steps.
Do you ever pass it by and feel the nostalgia,
look
the
at it
struggle of Prahlad? This is where it started.
Hanging out the balcony and watching the world go by.
Wow.
The whole world used to go by, you know.
True. And Colaba was the center of Mumbai
yes,
for a long time.
Absolutely.
How sad that it's no longer. Damn it. It's all because of you Lokanwala types. Hate you all. What do they do? Extending Mumbai like that behind our back, quietly living happily in Colaba. Now it's all this. So we reached that point. Can you quickly get into the genesis?
So I came to Bombay and Shyam looked at me saying, "You're from Delhi." So then he suddenly addressed me from Delhi. And that was a big chappa for all Bombay professionals. Anybody who comes from Delhi is a no-no. Because Delhi is known for the world of jugaad.
But jugaad is not necessarily a bad word.
It's a very bad word. Because
It's legal. It's legal, illegal. It's not
legally
illegal, illegal.
No, but for professionals, it's
cunning.
It's thuk laga ke haisha.
It's okay.
No, you can get away with it once. You can never get away with it twice.
So you're saying that Mumbaikars think of Delhiites as criminals?
No, they think that Mumbai as an unprofessional businessman because they only want to make topi on somebody because you can only pen out topi once.
Right.
Because he'll never come back to you again.
Right.
So they've got so much fodder that they don't bother about...
The mass is so much that you can keep going.
No, because they have connections in ministries and things. Everything runs through the political office. So the guy, some cousin was, keeps passing jobs on to him. So, if they come to license, if they come for permission, that's why mera bhatija usko job de do. So they keep coming. In Bombay, if a client comes to you, he's God. And if you can't retain him, means there's something wrong with you. Means that you work for him so that he keeps coming back to you. So once a client becomes your client...
Can't you just pay him?
Now they've started doing that. By the way, they've started doing that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And now that's what actually happened to the advertising business.
Right.
Is that you're actually paying your client back. The kickback thing. Today it's all about that.
Yeah.
But at my time it was clean, squeaky clean, for whatever it was. So he sent me off to, Pedder Road, or saying that you work with this guy who's a Gujarati filmmaker. He just made a film called Kunku.
Who's this guy?
Warden Road, not Pedder Road.
What name?
Kantilal Rathod.
This time you got the name right?
Yeah, I've got the name right.
Mrs. Umrikar became Mehromji and all that. I'm just worried.
No. Kantilal Rathod, he made Kunku. But he used to live in Baroda and he used to only come occasionally to the office. So his office was run by his photographer, who was brilliant, absolutely. So I learned a lot of photography from him. Chowda, Dayaram Chowda. Okay, and we used to hang out and things. And I didn't have now when you take buses and all. So I used to walk from Warden Road to Colaba every day.
Wow.
I used to only
7, 8, 9 kilometers.
Yes. I used to only go by bus to office because I was a little late. But coming back was my time. So I used to walk. And en route, I used to meet all kinds of interesting people on Marine Drive especially.
Right.
Fishermen, lovers,
Would Mumbaikars in the 80s also be spitting?
Yeah, of course.
Spitting was still there. I always think that maybe it's more contemporary, but obviously spitting is part of a culture.
Spitting is a part of a culture because Pan is a part of
first.
Yeah.
When he's like, Kautilya, come here. That may have been the first recorded Tuk Marna moment. Yeah.
So then what happened was they started agitating and said, come back to Bombay. So I said, no, I still have to learn a lot. They said, no.
Come back to Delhi, you mean?
Come back to Delhi. So I said, no, I've got lots to do. He said, no, bullshit. You said spent 4 months there. Now, so I desperately was collecting his throats, said, send me some money to make a film and show you what I've learned. So they sent me 450 rupees to make a film.
You need models of my budget.
No, I mean, it seemed like a lot of money at that time, but for making a film, the camera would cost more than that to hire one. So I went to my first mentors who I begged was Ram Mohan.
Ram Mohan, the famous cartoon animator.
Yeah. So I told him, listen, I have 450 bucks. I need to make a film and show it to the Delhi people. How do I go through the process without having to go through a camera, film, and all that, and labs and processing and editing tables and rubbish? So he gave me an idea. He said, why don't you do it on a still camera?
Oh.
He said, shoot the whole thing on
speed it up.
Still camera. No, shoot it in sequence. And you bring the photographs back to me and I will reanimate them by putting them in dissolves.
Wow. Free.
Yeah, of course.
What was the hold you had on him?
Nothing.
He was like a huge icon.
He just liked me. He thought that I was a good kid. So you do the graveyard shift because there's nobody there. And he had a beautiful table called the Oxberry animation table. You could do all kinds of things. So I said, fine. So I got hold of A.K. Beer, the famous filmmaker today. He had just come out of the Film Institute. And he lived behind my house, the lane behind me. So I could see his place from my back, window. And I shouted at him, Beer! And then we'd meet, And there were no phones or anything at that time. So Beer said, okay, I'll help you with the shooting. So I had a Asha Pentex. Now you have to find the story. And in college, I'd written one really stupid, sloppy love story kind of thing called Reflections, about two people falling in love. Then one person leaves for Delhi. And in the train ride, through the shuttering of the window, there are flashbacks of the meeting, the development of the relationship. So basically, just the flowering of a relationship, nothing more.
The
initial thing,
Which is what you've advocated all your life.
Yes.
Just have the flowering stop.
No.
Don't actually water the plant. I'm learning from the master.
You have
Master,
to
teach me.
You have to
Kung Fu.
water the plant all the time.
Well,
And for the rest of your life.
but you don't touch the plant.
Because you adopt the flower.
You don't eat the plant.
No, you don't eat the plant.
Please be very clear.
You adopt
Your
it.
metaphors are going over my head.
You don't eat the plant.
If I'm in jail because of you, Mithali, it's because I couldn't understand the metaphor.
You couldn't understand the metaphor. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So
you shot this.
So I needed to shoot it, but I couldn't afford a actress, and it's very abstract.
This is the magic of cinema.
It's very abstract. So because it's very abstract, it was even more difficult in terms of performance. You actually had to get a person to go through the motions themselves from their experience, and not my experience.
Right.
So their experience is different from my experience.
Yeah.
So there would always be
30% here and there.
No, there would be a clash, and no, I want to do it this way. I want you to do it this way, kind of thing, with somebody who is seasoned. So I tried it once or twice. I tried to relate the script to them, see how do they want to go with it. And they had diametrically opposite ideas because their experiences were different. So I realized I have to take a newbie and somebody who had potential. And I was looking, I couldn't find anybody. And one day at Samoa,
Samoa, restaurant in South Bombay.
Jangir Art Gallery, we used to all hang at Samoa. I saw this girl looking around to find some friend of hers. And she was like a startled little deer. She was thin.
Short skirt?
No, sari.
Sari?
Yeah.
You approved?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay. But her body language was that poised to flee. Because she found it very strange and she didn't know anybody there, and she was looking for somebody who had asked her to meet her there. And I just watched her until she located them, and then opened up like a flower because she suddenly felt relief. There was a known face there. And I said, wow, this girl is very photogenic. Let's try out. So I tootled over to the table. There were a whole lot of people who worked for a newspaper there. And they were all young trainee journalists. And I think she was also a trainee journalist. And I knew some of them. So I sat down and I said, who's your new friend? So they introduced me to her. So I said, I want to talk to you. So she said, about what? I said, I'll tell you. You come and sit with me and I will talk to you. So the next day we made a time and we sat and talked. I couldn't tell her that I wanted her to act in my film. She would refuse.
What is the name?
Doesn't matter.
Famous?
No, she wasn't. She wouldn't ever do it because the whole idea was that she was looking to do a management job.
Right.
And this whole business of film was frivolous. So I gave her the other option. I said, I'm trying to make this film and it's going to either make or break my career. Will you help me do it? I need a production person.
Oh, who was this, huh?
So she said, yeah, but I can only do it on weekends because I'm working through the week, and I can do it on Saturdays and Sundays if that suits you. So she got a little excited about it because the whole idea of the process of making a film was more exciting to her than rather than being in the film.
Right.
Okay. Didn't realize that I had this evil intent to actually cast her in the film. So I used to spend my weekends with her with beer, with the camera around my neck all the time, and constantly talking to her through the camera. Now, if I started shooting her, she would freeze because she was a complete novice. But over a period of time, she got used to the idea of me talking her through the camera. So it became invisible. And then I told her, I said, no, we are really desperate. I can't find anybody to do that.
That should become a little comfortable.
Can you just do the first few bits so that we also get the hang of it, and then I can show it to somebody and say, this is what I want to do.
Correct.
Yeah.
Very well done.
So,
This is almost like adult film casting, you know. एक बार दिखाओ, मैं थोड़ा experiment कर रहा हूँ. This is not going for public consumption, huh? Very, very smart. So I knew there was something fishy in the whole bloody story. I patiently kept quiet with that. I didn't say a word. Because he sounded so beautifully noble in his storytelling about this young girl. And I'll not break that barrier and, you know, come in the way of our private thinking and whatever. And yeah.
So she agreed. And we shot this whole thing through stills, through the different moods. But the moods were real. They weren't acted. So I had to tell B that we need to do this. And he said, okay, this is the location. And then you talk her into the process. And when she starts actually acting out the fine, not acting, but feeling the part that you want to make of it, I'll shoot it. So I used to shoot part of it, B used to shoot part of it, but she got so used to the camera after a while that she
ignored it.
It didn't matter.
But this is just what you made for yourself.
Yeah.
You didn't actually show to anyone beyond your boss or whatever.
No. So I went back to Ramon and said, now shot the stills.
Yeah.
Well, how do I process them? She says, you will have to buy the paper because that nobody will buy for you. But if you go to Nepensi Road, Akbar Padamsi,
the painter,
has gotten a fellowship award. And with that award, he started in a little flat, a whole lot of facilities for young artists and people who are in the
like an NGO for you.
Like an NGO, you know, where he allows people to work there for free. But you have to bring your own paper. The darkroom he provides. So he's got an enlarger, he's got a darkroom, he's got the processing tanks, he's got everything. You have to bring your own paper and do it. So I told Beer, I said, I don't know anything about this, you better help me. So he came with me to a darkroom, we processed the rolls.
Two Punjabi boys in a darkroom, Nepensi Road.
AK Beer wasn't Punjabi, he was Odia.
Even worse, Odia Punjabi together, what a mix.
Okay. So we processed the whole thing, we blew them up and we numbered them, we did the sheets first, and then ticked off the one that we wanted blown up in the sequence that we wanted, took it back to Ramon. He said, yeah, this makes sense. So then we reshot all the stills on an Oxberry camera and made the film. Like it wasn't moving, but there was a narrative.
Right.
There was some form of a narrative. Okay, which only I understood and Beer understood and maybe she understood.
It's also like if you cast like two 90-year-olds, you know, so the action is very limited, but it's still there and there's a story. Yeah.
So, but now we needed to see the film, not on a small editing table, but on a big screen and see how it looked. And we couldn't find any preview theater to actually go to and slam it in free. So then I remember Lintas had a preview theater of their own, which was about years at that time. So I went to Lintas and I met a lady called Mubi Ismail. She was very instrumental in my professional life.
How was she dressed?
She was in slacks.
Don't answer it.
She was in a kurti and trousers. Okay. And Mubi was the film chief of Lintas at that time. And there was a gentleman standing with her with very deep voice. And she said, this is Jason.
Oh, Dacunia.
So he says, you have to ask him because she's the boss. So she says, so I want to just see this reel on the theater. Can you please let me have a look at it? This is my first film.
Yeah.
He said, yes, can we also see it? I couldn't say no because it was their theater.
Yeah.
I was very uncomfortable with them seeing it because I hadn't seen it properly.
Correct.
So they were going to see it with me. So I said, yeah, okay. So they sat on the back row and we sat in the front row. And we watched it 3 times. It was a blur. I couldn't make out hide or tail of it. You know, it was so intense an experience that it just went past like this. You know, as we saw it 3 times, and I said, so Jason boomed from the back. Very nice.
Wow.
Now tell us what it means. So that's what we named the film. Very nice. Tell us what it means.
That's the story of the legend. I have to stop him here because he's talking too much, way above our time. All the stories, the recollections are in this. The second half, unfortunately, we have to call you back because we need to talk for hours.
Of course, you have to call me back.
I want to talk about Sachin, about all the cricketers, about all the film stars, Shah Rukh, all these people that he worked with, including me.
Yeah, you.
And how he treated me so nicely and them so badly. He actually did.
What?
And the bakra that we did, the famous bakra.
the bakra.
Yeah, which I wrote and I just wrote in the book.
It's in the book. Yes.
It's missing for some reason.
No, it's not. It's there.
It's there?
Yeah, very much.
Yeah, so check that out. There's a bakra he did on a Pepsi shoot, Chota Pepsi, which anyway for me was a bit of a difficult. All the boys were teasing me, oh, you're in Chota Pepsi. Was that did you come up with Chota Pepsi?
No, they did.
And your Anuja Chauhan, the legend, of course. What a team you all made for a little while there, the absolute cream of advertising. All this is there, lots of memories. And like he said, he couldn't fit in, it would have been 10,000 million words.
Yes.
But you bring it down to 180,000 from the original 80,000. You compromised and brought it down to that.
So let me go back to that.
Yeah.
So then Shyam came back from Bhilai. He was shooting a documentary on the steel plant.
Huh.
And he was editing. And I said, sir, I made a film. He looks at me and says, really? Show me. So we loaded on the scene back and he saw it a couple of times. He looks at me and says, are you in love with this girl? So I said, I don't know. I don't think so. But maybe...
Were you having a relationship?
No, but it was very intense, because as long as the film lasted. But
and she was comfortable. So
and the moment the film finished, we didn't know what to do because the whole glue was the film. But after that, we were really awkward with each other. So
maybe she liked beer.
Possibly.
Had to be one of the two, right? Yeah.
So anyway... So he looks at me offhand and says, are you in love with this girl? I sort of stuttered and stammered. But he started treating me like a person after that. Not like a...
Because you were creative, you realized.
No, he realized that, okay, if he's made a film on his own with a 450 rupee budget and innovated all along, it doesn't matter whether it makes sense or not. But there's a narrative.
True.
And he's completed a film.
Can I have my observation? I think like all great filmmakers, if they can't understand it, they think it's great. I think you learned a valuable lesson that day. Samajh mein nahi aaya. Fantastic. Justice screamed from the back. This is great. What do you mean? Fantastic. Yeah. You've taught us something.
That's art filming.
There you go. Yeah.
Nobody understands.
Okay, Prahlad, sorry we have to rush you here, but there's so many AMAs. We'll try to do 2 and 3.
So guess what?
You're not stopping?
No. So guess what? He actually kept me back. He made sure that I didn't go back to Delhi. Between him and...
But he offered you a job proper?
No, he said, you come and work in the department, I'll take care of everything else.
Did he?
He did. Because then
and what did you call him? It's in the book. You used to call him? Address him?
Shyam Babu.
Shyam Babu. Yeah.
So I stopped getting bleating calls from Delhi office. So that was it.
Wow. So Shyam was the guy actually who created... No, that's an unfair question. There are lots of things created, Prahlad. But without Shyam, you would not have gotten to advertising.
Absolutely.
But you may have met that girl in the sari and it could have gone another way.
Were
you in touch?
I would have become... No.
Did you have an affair?
40 years later...
What?
A lady walks in, because I've been talking about her because she was...
Same sari?
Not same sari. Same miniskirt, yeah.
Oh. Which girl are we talking about? The Delhi girl?
Delhi girl. There's a lady walks with...
Farida.
Farida Pandey, her name.
Farida Pandey?
Wow. She walks in to my... she was half Muslim, half Hindu, I think.
Stop giving me all these details. Just tell me the damn story. I get scared. It sounds like a pornographic film because when it comes to women, the details are so fantastic. And Shyam is Shyam Babu. Nothing more about this guy.
She walks into my office, this lady, and says, I want to meet Prahlad Kakar. So the girl said, he's there sitting in the cabin. She says, Prahlad, you've been talking about me behind my back. I said, no, I don't even know you. She said, I'm Farida Pandey. And we laughed.
What was she wearing?
She was wearing a sari. She was married. But she was the same booming voice.
Very pretty still?
Very good looking.
Mithali, this is the kind of conversation I'll have at home. I met this girl today, my darling. She was so beautiful.
We have that conversation.
I think so. I think that shows maturity. Okay, listen, let's get a couple of these AMAs because people have so many questions came in for you. We have to call you back to do justice. Shweta asked, the tea center at Resham Bhavan was one of the best food places for dates and teas and coffees, etc. Please share your go-to tea brand, flavor, and recommend a good tea today. These are all part of his projects over the years.
Yeah, the tea center was my baby because I was married into a tea family. And Mithali comes from a tea estate. Her father used to run a tea estate. And he helped me with all the single origin teas.
Mithali comes from money.
Single origin teas. No. And the single origin teas like Makai Badi, like, different gardens.
I have no idea, but I'll just say
Shamong. So the tea that we drink today is called Shamong. It's very difficult to get hold of, but you'll have to probably go to the...
That's your go-to brand. That's the question.
That's a brand we drink at home. And we combine 2 teas. We combine a Shamong Assam and a Shamong Darjeeling second flush.
But 2 teas are 6.
No, 2 teas are not 6. So 2 teas are teas. Okay, and the Assam gives you the strength and the body, and the Darjeeling gives you the flavor.
Well, sorry to go to the next question, but I think...
And most of my clients are all Parsis.
Really?
Because they love their teas.
So you bribe them.
And
you figure out this is their weakness.
Totally.
Yeah.
And we had a tasting room for people who wanted to taste the teas before actually ordering them.
Wow.
They could do that free in our tasting room. And it was a proper tasting room. It was one of the best tasting rooms in the country.
A man ahead of his times. And he loves short skirts.
And good legs.
Good legs. Who doesn't?
And there's a chapter in the book why I became a leg man rather than a breast man.
Yeah. You told us at the
Yes.
literary fest thingy and about the woman who suffocated you in her chest.
Very tough.
Yeah, and he couldn't get out. I cut the story short. It's an Anglo-Indian woman or something. Swedish lady. And to cut a long story short, and he ended up dancing with her, and then she got him to the bosom and crushed him because she was very muscular. 6'9", and and he was stuck in the chest.
And I couldn't breathe.
And then suddenly all sexual thought went out of his mind because he couldn't breathe, he was dying. This was real reverse molestation. It was a rare time when the Nordic woman and a Delhi boy got together, and the result was help from the Delhi boy. Okay, Madman rocks. Last question. Please tell us more about the Bakra you did on Cyrus. Was Cyrus' reaction on the lines of what was expected?
But that's in the book.
It's in the book.
And it's about Cyrus.
But the fact that he was so happy to do it.
No, Cyrus didn't know what the shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
So
no, you called me to eat lunch.
Yeah, called me to eat lunch. We set up the whole setup in the hidden
At
camera.
4 in the morning, those scumbags from my team came to the set in Chembur, rigged my his van properly and all that, and left before 7 because they knew the call time was 7. So well before. Imagine they're never on time for MTV shoots. They never do anything on time. I'm always kicking and hustling them to move, and then they do this out of goodness. But you were damn good. Nobody said a word. Very few knew about it.
Nobody knew about it.
Yeah.
Except Giru, the assistant to the stuntman and the stuntman. So he comes in to the van and we were eating lunch. And,
which again was a smart thing to do because he would call people to eat lunch with him and all that. So nothing out of the ordinary. You don't think, why is Prahlad called me to the thing? And then we went into the trailer, we ate lunch.
We ate lunch. This guy comes in and starts abusing because he said somebody hasn't paid him.
Not somebody hasn't paid him, Prahlad. You hadn't paid him.
No. So since I don't pay
correct, but your guy hasn't paid him.
Yeah, my guy hasn't paid him. So I said, go and talk to Joel or whoever is paying you. Yeah. Why are you abusing in my...
that was the thing that threw me. Everything I believe, Prahlad not paying, Prahlad's guy not paying, Prahlad not knowing the guy is paid or not paid, Prahlad being short with him and disrespectful, all that was normal. But him abusing Prahlad just didn't make sense. But
that was like completely out of character.
No, but I just thought he was really angry. So sometimes you lose it.
Yeah, so you intervened.
He was good.
You intervened at that time. So, hey, Gali mat there and all, you know.
I was doing it for him, not for you. I thought he'd lose his job. He's calling the great Prahlad Kakar bench with Mother. You can't talk like that. You know, I mean, end of the day, there's a certain, decorum and all that. So I was saying, Tami se baat karo. And I was trying to help him because I was like, bro, cool down before you cross that line where he's, going to say F off from the set. And then if he bans them, the guy will never work again, maybe, because it's a small world. I was a humanitarian. I was thinking ahead.
So you told him mat kar and all that.
Yeah, I did all that.
And he said, he ignored you.
Yeah.
And I slapped him.
Yeah.
Tar!
Yeah. I couldn't believe that.
And Cyrus sort of had big googly eyes. He slapped him. So this guy pulls out a pistol and shoots me.
There's a blank. There's a sound happening. Don't make me look like a complete moron. You're not like some kids playing in a class. Fucking sound happens in the trailer. Prahlad Kakar slapping the guy. He doesn't cross that line. So that is odd. Then, but it just happens so quickly. And he
shot me dumb.
Yeah.
It was a proper blank.
Yeah.
And I had what do you call
tomato patch, whatever it's called. They had made a sachet with blood. Whatever the blood thingy.
With a little
tomato ketchup or whatever.
And the button was in my pocket.
And you couldn't find it.
And I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
And he said, damn. And I went.
but he did everything perfectly because he covered his torso as he fell. So by the time the blood he found and that the body came to the side, then the blood trail was there. Now once you believe the gun has been fired, you're not thinking scientifically bad. बैंचोद खून नहीं निकला टाइम पे और वो आगे से निकला या पीछे से निकला अगर बंदूक आगे से मारा गोली बैंचोद तो ये कैसे हो गया who's thinking like that I'm thinking like fucking kill Prahlad it's over Chota Pepsi I'm wearing an Elvis wig what's wrong with this guy and then
Cyrus is in a catch-22 situation. This guy shot me with one witness.
Then he points the gun but no
and then he looked around for
Just
Cyrus
like
and said,
that,
witness को भी खत्म कर दूंगा क्योंकि एक आदमी को मार दिया तो वो तो फांसी है 2 आदमी को मारे तो 2 की थोड़ी बात होती
आधा इशारा किया ऐसा like half movement and I was like no
and Cyrus said, no I didn't say anything.
Now stop overacting the cowardly bit. If you believe a guy has a gun, he's going to point it at me. He wants to kill me. I got no skin in the game here. What the hell? Why do I have to die? Because Prahlad didn't pay him and his son is dying in hospital. I got nothing to do in this narrative. I was just sitting there eating lunch because you can't say no to Kakar ji. Oh man, it was terrible.
And then Cyrus suddenly realized that the whole thing was a spoof and it had all been.
No, you got up finally. I was just stunned.
I got up and
I was paralyzed.
Cyrus, you shit. I'm shot and lying down, but you can't even help me. You know?
Help you? It's not an everyday occurrence, Prahlad. The guy just pointed a gun at me. You're lying there holding your stomach and groaning, maybe dead.
And no, I'm saying, Cyrus, I've been shot. And Cyrus saying, I didn't see anything. You know?
That's not true. Watch the tape. First part is in 15 minutes we had to put makeup on and do the show. Some Chota Pepsi dancing in the background. Like nothing has happened. My heart was jumping out of the socket there. And he had a smile all day in that shoot. His brother just...
And then this guy jumps out of the van, shoots in the air, and everybody was having lunch outside.
Yeah, got scared.
They all fell over and all.
Except Shanaz Trashiwala, who was there, and was asking us, what happened? I remember. She had no idea. Yeah. Sweet as she is. Yeah. Hey, Prahlad, we have to stop here. We've broken all the records. We have a limit here on time. But the book is called Prahlad Kakar, The Man, The Myth, with Rupangi Sharma. And unapologetically, Prahlad, of course, he's always like that. He's the same guy wherever you meet him. And it's called Adman Madman. Please go and buy a copy. Insight into
or borrow it.
No, let them buy, na?
That's okay.
I know you have lots of money, but so what?
No.
Mithali said she wanted to go on a fancy holiday. It's been, 12 years? Yeah? Every year, what does he say? Andamans. Not quite Europe, but what the hell? Nice beaches. All right. So that's it. Prahlad Kakar, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Cyrus.